What's up everybody, welcome back to AZ Trading, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be showing you guys how we managed to capture this bullish move spanning around 130 points. So it's the 29th of August, the start of the week on a Monday, and we're on the NASDAQ once again. And if you've been following this market at all, you'd have seen this large expansion in price last week. And typically after an expansion in price, we tend to see a more consolidating price structure. But even in times of consolidation, there are still potential trade setups that form and opportunities to take advantage of, just like this trade over here. But first, the proof and the executions that this trade was taken and not just a hindsight review. So I'll turn on my executions here. You can see my entry, my partials that I took, and my final exit. And I can turn on the execution labels as well, where you can see my first position, where I took off half, my second partial, leaving a quarter to run, and my final partial taken. Alright, now with the proof out the way, let's get into what I saw and the pattern I used to capture this move so we can find trades like this one in the future. You already know the pattern we use to trade is the RMR pattern, but first, before we start to find the RMR, let's have a look at what the sentiment is like. What that means is we scroll back through price to the start of the day and we have a look at which liquidity is taken and which liquidity is resting. So let's look at buy side liquidity or liquidity resting above swings first. We can see that these swing highs over here, these have all been raided and they've all been taken. So all these swing highs, no matter which one you pick, all those swing highs and all that buy side liquidity has been raided already. And now when we look at the sell side liquidity or liquidity resting below swings and below equal lows, these swings have been taken. However, these swing lows, the ones that I'm drawing now, and these equal lows here have not been taken. They are all resting. So how can we use this information for our trades? Since we have an idea that the sentiment is now bullish, so highs are being broken and lows are being untouched, we can say that there's a likelihood that during a news event or when equity opens at 9:30, the sentiment is likely to be broken, meaning a swing low or sell side liquidity is likely to be taken. With that in mind, let's go into the 1 minute chart and see how we can find this entry. I've just drawn this blue line where the equity market opens, and here are those equal lows that we mentioned prior. I'll just shift this line away for a second, and as 9:30 ticked, we can see that this candle had an impulsive bearish movement. However, did it raid any sell side liquidity? Did it break any swing lows? No, it didn't. And not only that, it managed to form some relative equal lows as well. So at that moment in time, since these relative equal lows have been formed and these equal lows down here are still resting and haven't been raided, this entire bullish leg is more likely to be considered a false breakout, or just a run on buy side liquidity. So as we scroll through monitoring these equal lows here and these equal lows down there, we move forward, we can see that both equal lows have been stabbed through, and that's what we can call the raid. After the raid, the second thing we look for is the market structure shift. So during this bearish raid, we look for a bullish market structure shift, so we need to start to see swing highs being broken. So after raiding these equal lows, we have some swing highs here, we have some swing highs here, and once price breaks through those swing highs, that's what we can call the market structure shift. And finally, the third element of the RMR is the return, and this is just your entry method or your entry technique. You can see during this market structure shift, we've been presented a gap. If we extend that gap to the right, as soon as price retraces into that area, that's where we can place our long position. Using a gap as your return entry technique is one of the most common ways I enter on my trades. However, you don't have to use a gap. You can also use an order block, which is right over here. If we extend that one to the right, once price retraces into that area, we can place a long as well. And just to make sure you're getting a fair price, we can draw a fib retracement from the bottom of this swing down here to the top of the market structure shift. And as long as our entry position during a long is under the 50% level, this would be considered a discount in price, meaning it is a fair price to participate. So for my entry, you can see that I took a long position as soon as price retraced into this gap. And once you place that trade, the first thing you have to set is your stop loss, which in most cases is at the bottom of the raid. Now that you've set your stop loss, we can start to look for objectives above. When you take your partials and when you look for objectives, there's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you're doing it in a logical fashion. So the areas that I look for when I take my partials are different swing highs and different gaps. So once we place that entry and we look to our left, so we can see that there are some relative equal highs over here. Once those highs have been reached, that is an area where I took my first partial. If we look to the left once more, you can see that there's a gap over here. Once that gap was filled, I took off my second partial, and my final partial, you could look to the left once more. If we extend those relative equal highs to the right, once price reached those swing highs, that's where I took off my final partial. So overall, you can see that even though when price is in consolidation, we can still manage to find trades like this one. I guess a good exercise you guys can do to help practice identifying the RMR is to go into your own naked charts, or I can just remove my annotations and you can take a screenshot of this price action, chuck the screenshot into your study notes, and whenever you want to practice outlining an RMR, you can take this picture and try to find all the elements. Alright, that's all for this trade from me, guys. I wonder if any of you saw this as well. I see all your comments and your questions, so I'll try to put out a Q&A video very soon. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like. And if you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button. It makes me very happy. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll definitely get back to you. But until next time, take care, guys. Peace.